Welcome back, everybody, to our Bhagavad Gita podcast. Today, we shall be looking at text 3 of chapter 1. I'll read the verse. Pashyaitam Panduputranam Acharya Mahatim Chamum Vyudham Drupadaputrena Tava Shishyena Dhimata. Translation: O my teacher, this is Duryodhan addressing Dronacharya. Behold the great army of the sons of Pandu, so expertly arranged by your intelligent disciple, the son of Drupad. So, continuing what we talked about, the diplomacy veneer, the behind the scenes thing happening, reading between the lines, so to say. So, Duryodhan never spoiled sport for diplomacy, always thought that might is right, and what's mine's mine, what yours is negotiable, and if you need God or if you have God's resources, then why you have to do anything with God? Gets God resources, and that's what he did. So he got the whole Narayani Sena. But still, here we see he wants to point out the defects of Dronacharya. Now, Bhishma and Drona both are kind of considered equal. They are both called commanders. Technically, Bhishmadev is the commander. And Dronacharya had some political quarrel with King Drupad, the father of Draupadi. As a result of this quarrel, the king performed a sacrifice, Agni Hotra Homa, and he got a son and a daughter. The daughter is a famous Draupadi, and son is also a very famous warrior called Drishtadyumna. Now, for our audience, it would be very strange. It is well known that this son was obtained by Drupad to defeat Guru Drona in a battle. And just see, to whom does he send his son for military training? To the same Guru Drona. And we see, and this is a very important point for those of us here today to understand how things worked in the ancient times. So it is said that Dronacharya fully knew that this previous enemy of mine now has a son. In the future, the son is going to kill me, but he has come to me to learn military art. So, as a liberal Brahmana, I have to give him the education. When he's coming and telling me I want to become a disciple, never mind, he would kill me in the future. I must give him teaching. So here Duryodhana is telling his guru that Guru Maharaj, he is a very intelligent guy, your disciple, but I think you are not that intelligent, you were not that intelligent in training him up. So now, at least don't consider him your disciple. Don't consider the Pandavas your favorite disciples. Just become a little bit angry. Kill them. Now it is war. So today, what uh, people find like real problems either in family life, corporate life, business life, political life is what's my duty? What am I supposed to do? And there are many, many, many instances in Ramayana, Mahabharata, Puranas. Here is one such case where a person decides, I'm not going to be attached to the future. In the future, if my death is written at the hands of this warrior, Drishtadyumna, it might be. Right now, my duty is I have to behave like a liberal, broad minded intellectual. And that's what Dronacharya did. And that's to his credit. Anything from you to gloss over this particular point?
I mean, when I was listening to you, I was remembering the incidents when people ask or people say, "Oh, Vedic history, all mythology."
Okay.
And then I was like, "Why mythology?" When they look at the incident like this, it's just in today's day and time humanly impossible when he knows somebody is going to be the cause of your death, and you yourself train him how to kill yourself. It's just totally unacceptable. And here, Dronacharya, knowing the fact, as you mentioned, Dronacharya was well aware that this Shaduna is going to be the cause of his death, yet being a liberal. Now, today, who cares about being liberal? They talk about liberal, become liberal. And look what was a sense of liberal mindset. So why people generally say, oh, it's all mythology? One is they cannot really relate to this kind of an history. And second, we are kind of somehow told we are advanced and we have come from Stone Age era, which means in the past people were uneducated, uncultured. So we cannot adapt or accept the fact that actually we had come from advanced culture and where we have come. If in case it had to happen today, then what? I leave it on to you all to decide. If today student like this Chadumna had to come to a teacher, who is going to be responsible for the death of a teacher? With a teacher, a martial teacher, going to really give a training to the student? I believe all of us know the answer. So that's an interesting thing that I reflected on when you were making a point. And yes, the diplomacy of that we are discussing here. So I'd like to hear more on that. You said Prabhupada in the previous purport, the last line also, Duryodhana befitted the role of a diplomat because he knew how to balance the things. So if I can raise a question maybe here, or maybe you can take that question later on, is that something wrong being diplomatic? Is being Duryodhan getting diplomatic here? Is it okay? Or is it something not to be done in one's personal life? Because he's kind of saying, oh, Himata, as you were emphasizing, you have taught your very intelligent disciple. You have equipped somebody, but you have trained him to become a cause of your death. Any statement on that, or what do you like to say?
Yeah, in India especially, I mean outside the world also, all over the world, it could be in their own language and customs that in India they say सीधी उंगली से घी नहीं निकलता. You can't take ghee out with a straight finger. टेढ़ी उंगली से घी निकलता है. For those who know, if you know Hindi, a crooked finger will help you to take out ghee from a container. And we eulogize those who are con men. We eulogize those who escape the law. It could be political leaders of political heads of state even. So the whole atmosphere is vitiated with this kind of feeling that um, finders keepers, or uh, those who can break the law with impunity, they can get whatever they want. This is there universally and right from time immemorial. Now what is absent is, like, I try to see everything as a weight, duty, forbearance, tolerance, and then the counterweight is has to be something. What is that something? So if diplomacy is like one kind of weight on, like you have a scale, and in one part of the scale you put diplomacy, the training in the law of karma would be the counterweight. People would understand, hey, I cannot get away with anything and everything. I will be accountable. The law of karma, which I just opened it up, but we are not going to discuss it in detail now. A lot of will come when we discuss the third chapter and the fifth chapter, especially. So it all depends on whether you have a very, very short term gain outlook in life. As one person pointed out, it's my favorite saying: play now and pay later, or pay now and play later. So I connect this with the classic understanding of Shreyas versus Preyas,
Yes.
short term benefits versus long term benefits. Now we all have a little bit of a diplomat in us. We try to wing our way through something. We might get a better bargain at purchasing things, and at the same time our teachers warn us that this is a place of cheaters and cheated. So either you get cheated sometimes, or you become a cheater sometimes. And I think the Gita tries to tell you that, dear friend, as much as possible, try to go beyond this whole ecosystem. So, if the clouds are like the modes of nature, and the rain, sometimes good, sometimes bad, sometimes ugly, or whatever, so that's where sometimes you succeed, sometimes you don't. Like we always have this thing of, oh, the con man is outconned by someone else. It always happens. But the Gita gives you a intellectual vehicle which takes you above the clouds.
Okay.
So that's what being transcendental means, that the whole action of somebody outgunning other is below the clouds. And unless you go beyond the clouds, you're not able to you'll not be able to understand what to make of life. Should I fall in for some temporary short term gain here, or should I wait? In our programs we talk about that famous marshmallow experiment where you must have used it also. School kids are given a marshmallow and told that just 20 minutes, don't touch it and don't eat it. Just 20 minutes. And those who can tolerate, you get two. So you have a choice. One now, and no questions asked. Wait for 20 minutes, one more. Then they track down those who waited for 20 minutes. And to their utter surprise, I imagine the tenacity required to track down people who were toddlers, 5 years, not toddlers, but 4 or 5 years. And then 25 years, they tracked them down and they found that in almost all the major departments of life, they were much better off than those. Now, they were not a bit trained, there were no seminars on tolerance or trying to wean themselves of any kind of attractive. It's such a sweet. I mean, sweet is such a nice, attractive thing for a small kid. But because it was innate and it was developed, it helped them.
Hmm.
So, sorry to give a long winding answer. So, diplomacy is there, and we need to have it. It all depends on who practices it.
Correct.
There is a very famous saying, especially in Bengal, I think, because Prabhupada would quote it. Oh, you cheated me? Shame on you. Oh, you cheated me twice? Shame on me. So I don't think the Gita, understanding the Gita makes you a gullible, simpleton kind of person who can be taken for ride by anyone. Hardly. In fact, in the last episode, I think you pointed out that I see a billboard and like a zombie, I walk towards it and buy or eat or wear or use whatever they say. That makes me more like a person following blindly
Agreed.
rather than one who, rather than when I say that, okay, is it right? Is it good for me? Should I spend so much money now? If the answer is no, I just don't do it. So these are some thoughts on the understanding of diplomacy.
Thank you, thank you. That makes a lot of sense. I'll just make one quick point on this about when we said when I made a point about Vedic culture, people call it mythology because they fail to understand the characters here. I really like the point when you made a point, the point that you made about it's not that Bhagavad Gita the teachings make you gullible. In fact, it's like it teaches you how to rise above the clouds and then move on to your life. So here, Dronacharya, despite knowing the fact that this person would be the cause of my death, he had some higher principles to follow and lived a life of dignity. And he did whatever he had to do it. Eventually, death is inevitable. Everyone has to die. So I guess there's a lot more to discover about these characters and how Bhagavad Gita can actually help us understand these characteristics of these great personalities, probably as we move forward in our future podcasts.
Yeah.
Anything else on this today?
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Thank you everyone for joining in. Hare Krishna.